Hi, and welcome back to Firestarters TV. I'm Pamela Signeri, and it's a real joy for me today to introduce you to a really dear friend of ours, Lynn Johnston. And Lynn is in Cambodia. She is a mighty woman of God, and she's possibly one of the bravest people I know, because her journey has been extraordinary. So, welcome, Lynn.
Hello, Pam. Great to be here.
So, as you can all tell by now, Lynn's actually Australian. She is not Cambodian. But tell us a little bit about how you came to be in Phnom Penh and
Yeah,
working with the Khmer.
yeah. Well, Phnom Penh was never on my list of places to come to. I was always wanting, I felt like God was calling me to Mozambique and to go to Heidi Baker's harvest school. And so I tried for 3 years. I told my church, they put me up on the screen to say that they were going to send me out. They were excited. We're a missionary church in Australia. So, so we were there and for 3 years in different ways I tried to go to Mozambique. And I even had visions and all sorts of things. And then one day, basically, and even a year before I went to Cambodia, this lady who's prophetic came up to me and said, "Have you ever thought about going to Mozambique?" And I was like, "Have you ever thought?" I've tried. I've been trying. Then Randy Clark, I was going to go with Randy Clark, and something happened and it fell through. And my daughter, who was 18 at the time, went to Bethel, School of the Supernatural, in the beginning of September. So at the end of September, basically God took me on a 3-day journey about really relinquishing everything. That it wasn't about where I was going, it was more about him. And he gave me a vision of the cross, and I watched the Passion, and it was like this 3-day journey. And then I remember listening to Randy Clark, and Randy Clark had this teaching. It was like, make me like a coin in your pocket. So I just prayed that prayer. I said, God, I just put down Mozambique. I put down everything. I always wanted to do micro businesses. It was always on my heart. I was trying to figure it out over in Australia. How could I do these micro businesses in third world countries? And I said, God, I just give it over to you and make me like a coin in your pocket. And then as soon as I said that, it was like God said, great, get your suitcase out because you're moving to Cambodia for 6 months. And I said to him, I can't do that. I don't have any money. I've got a job. I'm supporting my daughter who's just gone to Bible college. And within 6 weeks, God had worked out my daughter. Someone said that they'll pay for her accommodation. It was just God just worked it out. And I was, within 6 weeks of him talking, I was in Cambodia, in Phnom Penh.
But when you first arrived,
Yes.
that wasn't where you are now. It's been a bit of a journey even within Cambodia.
Yes, yeah. I think I came to work with, yeah.
Yeah, go on.
So I came to work with a lady who was in my church who worked in the slums. And you know what? I always say to people now, expect at least for the first 2 years that it's going to be about God working in you.
Yes.
You think that you're going to come. I'm not saying, everyone thinks they're going to come and just automatically jump off the plane and accelerate into what God's got for them.
Because we were all rock stars.
And saviors and rescuers and all of that.
Yeah.
And, the first 2 years usually is a bit rocky for people.
Yeah.
It's really God brings things up because you're in a different culture, because there's so much spiritual activity around here. We have people sacrificing there's which is Buddhist temples all in every suburb in. So it's a whole different, spiritual climate that you have to get used to. And it's hot. It's very hot sometimes. So for the first, I worked in the slums with this lady, and so I God brought up a lot of things out of me during that time. But it was also about me understanding about the culture, because it's a different way of thinking. It's a different way of being, and understand where you fit as a Western person in that culture.
Yeah.
Because in this culture, so many NGOs have come and people have come and they just give, so that when people see you, they go, oh, great, what can we get?
Yes.
So there's a
Exactly.
breaking down of that needs to happen, you know, and a mindfulness of that when you're working with people. So so I worked with this lady for 6 months and really learned a lot about myself.
Yeah. Yeah.
And about my pride and learning how to a teachable spirit and all sorts of things. And then I worked with another organisation for another year and a half, which was an anti-trafficking organisation. And I worked with setting up their centre and going out and bringing girls in prostitution, working in prostitution. And that was also about God working in me and learning about really what was happening underneath in Cambodia. And hearing women, you know, hearing the stories of these women, how a lot of them had been trafficked by friends or family or, you know. So it was really the first 2.5 years were education for me.
Yeah, yeah.
I didn't realise it, but it was.
And that's probably true, I guess, in any ministry that we want to embark upon, because it's a totally different thing. But here you are, not just embarking on a new ministry field, but in a really a totally foreign culture. And I remember the first time we went to Cambodia, and to hear that fathers and husbands were actually selling their children and their wives into prostitution. It's really difficult to get your head around that. Like tiny little girls and boys being sold into prostitution. And it makes you wonder about, well, you don't really need to wonder because you know what the spirit is over the place.
That's right.
And it's just all bad. But I think it's extraordinarily brave of you as a single woman, you know, to go and just, you know, stick your flagpole in Cambodia and determine that this is what God has given you and you're there for the long haul, for transformation, not just to hand out.
No, definitely not to hand. Yeah.
Let's just, we've got a video a little bit about what you do there. So let's just play that so the people can get a little bit of an idea about who Lynn Johnston is and what Moriana is.
Just before last week, we ran out of rice. We ran out of money for this. And then a friend messaged me and said, do you need rice? And I said, Jar song. And then she gave us 250 kilos of rice. And some more, and some other people gave us more money. As long as Jesus gives us the money, we'll keep doing this to help support you guys.
So there's a lot in that. And the first little, that's a snapshot of Lynn's life in Cambodia. The first video part is when they come in on a Friday, I believe.
Yeah, the thing about it is that we've been working. We have Moriana and Wellspring. So Moriana is our ethical fashion brand that we're building, and Wellspring is our going into the communities, slum communities. Yeah. We work in 3 slum communities here. Now, it's something very interesting is because we actually don't give out anything in the communities. So when we go in, it's just about relationship and praying for people. And I have a social worker and an assistant that works with the kids. So during the COVID, God spoke to me about getting 4 large bags of rice, 200 kilos of rice. And we didn't even have the money at the beginning to get that. But it was funny. I did a home delivery because we sell linen, clothes, and so I did a home delivery for our linen clothes, and it was $78. And God said, all right, there's your first bag of rice, $25. And then someone else gave us some money. And I didn't even know what God was going to use it for. So we had, as we're going into the communities, people said, because they're recyclers, they walk the streets getting recycling. And no one was putting it out. The recycling was closing where they usually go and get the money. And we said, where are you going to get the food from? And they said, we don't know. Mm-hmm. So this Friday came out of need. Mm-hmm. It wasn't something that we normally do, because we deliberately don't give out things in the communities so that people won't ask us for things when we go in.
Yeah.
They see it's that relationship. Yeah. So we started during COVID opening our gates, and basically people started donating to it. So 4 bags of rice became 3 bags of white rice a week, and we were able to give out eggs and chicken powder and soy sauce. So every week we started off giving out to 13 families, and now it's got up. Last week it was 45 families.
Wow. That's how you transform a community.
Yeah.
Oh, and that's actually, as we were talking before, they probably represent several different little communities, because all the slums are very different, aren't they? They're quite unrelated to one another. So you have influence far beyond what we see on that video, and that's what it's all about in this season, the influence that we can have. And then you have Moriana, which is the ethical clothing, and that's, please go and look at the website for Moriana. It's, if you live in a warm climate, then the clothes are fabulous, because natural fibers breathe. The website's on the screen right now. So go and have a look. Order them. You know that what the women that are making this is their little business, isn't it? I mean, it's your business, but you're training them to be able to have their own.
Yes. So Moriana is our business. So they're in Moriana. We have the trainer, and we have people who are actually wanting to be either designers, professional to train people. So what we've done is we've kept it separate. So Moriana is like a high, because we have to sew at a very high quality with Moriana. Because
this is going to the West, isn't it?
Going to the West. Our clothes are checked. Every piece of clothing is checked meticulously. So that's always going to be. People will still come into there, but they won't start there.
No.
Our micro businesses for the women in the community is where we're going to start training and teaching
them.
So they'll make our bags, our scrunchies. We're having we're actually doing a collaboration with another business who's wanting to make quilts and really like recycled material on the quilt. And she's designing those. She's she's creative. So what I've decided is to keep the micro business separate. Yeah. And that women. So that's a 2-month course that we're starting in 2 weeks' time, and the Moriana trainers will train and work with these women that come from the slums. And this actually micro business course that we're doing actually came out of the Fridays, because women were coming. And on the Fridays, we were preaching the gospel, and people were sharing. I work with the whole of my team, so they were sharing their testimonies, and then people would come in and would pray for the sick, and take people to hospitals. And women started asking us, because they heard that we sewed. They started asking us, "Can you teach us to sew?" So we were like, "Yes, we can. Yes, I've been waiting. I've got 14 Genobi sewing machines upstairs that I've had aside for a year and a half. So that's So those women would be taught how to sew by our trainers who sew at a very high quality, and and they'll make things for us so that they can start their own business and start to get an income. And then these trainers will also help them design clothes that they can sell on the streets. And then some of them who are really, some of them who are really, really keen, who go, I want to go the next step, and you can see in them. Then they'll go upstairs to Moriana and work, starting to learn our clothes. With Moriana, we actually have worked with another organisation that brings in designers from all over the world, that brings in pattern makers from all over the world. And so our team, that team is actually being trained by that organisation too, to a higher level.
That's really good.
Yeah.
So the clothes, and this is what I want people to go on the website to see. The clothes are not what you'd normally pick up in a market in Siem Reap or Phnom Penh.
No.
You know,
No.
they're really clothes that you would be very happy to wear, and you could have bought them in a designer shop here in Australia or in the United States, and you do have customers all over the world, which is awesome.
Yeah.
But
so with Moriana, our main target market is Australia and America.
Yeah.
And we have some foreigners here who buy, but our clothes, even in Cambodia, it's a lot less than the West, but it's a lot more. Our target market,
street market.
So it's because it's linen. It's linen. It's very well made. We're ethical fashion, so we actually, pay good wages. We have incentives. Good, women go and get trained up. So it's different. We're actually targeting to the West, not to Cambodia.
Yeah, and that's a smart thing to do. The other thing on the video that I really caught my eye was on the girls' t-shirts. It says, "One woman can change a community," and I love that, because it everything we do as ministers of the gospel should be leading towards transformation and reformation, and that's how we keep Jesus front and center. And we, it's just an extraordinary thing, and people don't always understand, unless they've been to Cambodia. They don't understand the culture, because or really anywhere in Asia or even in Africa, we've discovered that it's the women who get out there and make things happen. And
so true.
Yeah, so that's been your experience with the families there.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
As I was saying, as we're interviewing, so because we want this course that we're running, we really want to run it for these women at a high standard. They've never had any education. We want to love on them. We want to see transformation. You can give. The other part of that is that you can give training to someone, but unless you show the love of God. Showing the love of God to these women is really paramount, and also helping them to discover the love of God for themselves. Because that's what brings change around.
Yeah.
As these women discover, we just had a woman come into work for us during COVID. God has just actually started things that we've been wanting to start for a long time. And this woman came in. She was very desperate. She said to us, "The only thing that's keeping me going at the moment are your Friday groceries." And she would walk the streets. She's got 3 kids, and so she started working just 2 days a week, mornings, every morning. And then we actually got a subsidy to put her into a house and to buy her some new things, and it was amazing. But when we sat down to interview her and said to her, "What have you ever dreamed of doing?" And she said, "I can't dream. I'm the poorest of the poor. Like, I just have to survive." And I've really been excited to see her grow.
Yes.
Because you're right. If women, if we can develop and give Jesus and show his love, and they start to get it, then they'll take it to, they'll be the change in their own family. It's
Yeah.
the women that are mainly out working at the moment, walking the streets with carts,
Yes.
collecting recycling.
Yeah.
Just because they've got the conscience, and they've got their kids with them,
They've got the
and some of the
children.
even walking the streets with them. So it
Yeah.
is. I believe it's about one woman. If we can because the slum communities, everyone lives in community. So if one woman starts to make a change, then other women are going to see that and they're going to want the
Yeah.
same change.
Absolutely. But it all comes out of relationship. It's
Yes, definitely.
simply, and God's really red hot on this, not just
Yeah,
in the mission field, but I believe across the world. This is part of what God is doing with this new era and the new wineskin. It's not about what title you have. It's not about how
yeah.
clever you think you are. It's
No,
about
that's definitely cool.
relationship, because relationship will give you influence. And
That's right.
that's how you change a community. That's how, and that's why these women can go back into their community and actually change things, because they already have the relationship, already have the influence.
That's,
And
yeah, that's so true.
so what you're doing is really extraordinary, and it's God's heart. It is so God's
Yeah,
heart to
yeah.
bring light to Cambodia. One thing that struck me, and I don't know, I mean, I haven't been there for a few years, but when we were in Cambodia, we went to the Killing Fields Museum, and
Yeah.
a lot of people said, no, don't go, it's really, really upsetting, and which it is.
It's important.
But
I think it's important to go.
yeah, I felt it was important, because the thing that struck me was that could happen overnight again there.
Yeah, that's right. Definitely.
Unfortunately, and things have not moved on that much. So it's so important that people know about the work that you're doing and give
Thank
you
you.
prayer
Yeah.
support, and have a look at
Yeah.
Moriana. And if you like something, buy it. It's just anything we can do to be a part of what God is doing in the
Thank you,
world
Pam.
today. It's not
Yeah,
about me and my ministry. It's
that's right.
about His kingdom, and I'm so privileged that you're a friend of ours, and
Oh, I'm privileged,
we're
Pam.
so honoured to feel that we're a part of what you're doing. And so please go to moriana.com, because you will be blessed, and you'll be blessing people. Lynn is doing a fabulous job, I mean amazing job in Cambodia.
I was going to
And
say,
sorry.
but it's a team I've got too.
Of
I
course, but you're the leader.
because yes, that's true. But this team are amazing, and
Yeah,
they're all Cambodians, Khmer, and they
yeah,
have a love for their people.
yeah,
And yes, I do lead it, but
yeah,
they're the ones that have the hands and the feet too. Like
of
we as a
course.
team, we
Yeah,
do this so that we can,
yeah.
so they can impact the nation and
And
share the
that's
love
your
of God.
relationship with them.
That's exactly right, Pat. I know, and that's a very important thing. Like
Yeah,
exactly what you were saying.
yeah. So thank you so much for being with us today,
No,
all the way from, I know it's early over there compared to here, but thank you. And, we'll keep in touch and catch up with you again soon. Father, I just want to pray for you. Father, I just thank you.
thank you.
I thank you for what you're doing in Cambodia. Father, I thank you what you're doing in Lynn and in her team. Lord, that they are indeed a light in that dark nation. Isaiah 60 verse 1 says, arise and shine, for your light has come. And the light has come upon you because Jesus Christ is alive in you, Lynn, and in your team. And we just thank you and we praise you, Father. Thank you and we praise you for your great blessing upon every missionary work, but particularly at this time upon Lynn and her missionary work. So thank you so much for being with us today. And I'm Pamela Signeri. This is Firestarters TV. And as Firestarters, we're going to go out and we're going to set fires in the world. Sounds a bit ordinary, but it's true. We're the little sparks that cause great fires to burn, and you've just met one of those sparks today. So until next time, this is Firestarters TV. Remember to like us on Facebook for exclusive Facebook-only interviews. Like, share and comment on the interviews. We'd love to hear from you. Go on, like us on Facebook now.